women. Today on Let's Talk FGM, we're talking about the topic Zero Tolerance for FGM, Report and Speak Out. Zero Tolerance for FGM, Report and Speak Out. The practice of cutting or mutilating parts of the female genitalia is a common practice in our society. People actually engage in them most of the time for cultural, religious, and all sorts of other reasons. Today on the Let's Talk FGM, we're emphasizing the role of local communities in tackling FGM, especially communities where female genital mutilation is perceived as a cultural practice which they must stick to. My guest today is Dr. Ayo Monsurat Alaga, Director, Lagelu Local Government and Iyalode Ajia of Ibadan Land, Oyo State. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us today on Let's Talk FGM.
Good afternoon. And I'm not going to sue you for calling my name wrongly.
I apologize for that. What's it? Let me get the correct pronunciation so I can do better.
I'm Alaga Ayo Monsurat.
Okay.
I'm the head of local government administration for Lagelu Local Government, though I'm here on personal assignment with the permission of my permanent secretary. And at the same time, I'm the Ajia Iyalode of Ibadan Land, not Iyalode Ajia. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Note the correction.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
So I can call you Alaga Monsurat.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's my name.
Okay. Thank you again. The number to call to join us on Let's Talk FGM today is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. You can also send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 0703 175 6537. We would love to hear from you. Once again, the number to call is 07000 917 917. You can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 0703 175 6537. Now, Alaga Monsurat, we've been talking a lot about female genital mutilation in previous episodes.
Yeah.
And we're always condemning the act. And the fact that we keep condemning it is something that is relatively confusing for some people because this is what they know as normal. So why do you support the condemnation of female genital mutilation?
Oh, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that the female genital mutilation is of no health benefit to women. It wreaks more havoc than good. It is an obnoxious culture, bad traditional practices, which must be condemned. For those that are saying we should still continue with the act, it's because they are ignorant of the negative effects of the act. I want to tell you that even FGM can even promote the spread of HIV/AIDS. You know, most of the instruments being used are not sterilized. That is that. Now let's go to the main issue, which is the damage as well. You know, they cut the outer part of the woman part. They cut it off. And do you know the reason? They believe a woman is going to be promiscuous if you have it there. And if God, in his wisdom, can just grant it to us to enjoy intercourse, while we, an individual, under religious cover-up, under obnoxious culture, deprive us of what God has given to us. It is barbaric. It is animalistic. It must be stopped. And it doesn't even end at that. Excessive bleeding can lead to death, which we all know. And during delivery, women are prone to a lot of dangers. Delivery becomes very difficult. And there's this issue of enuresis and ecopresis. You know, when those outer parts has been cut off, you will not have enough strength to push. You know, there is now opening with the healers. and the other parts of the body. So at one you will be passing urine, at one you will be passing feces,
which shouldn't be.
Please, the time to stop the cult is now. And that is what the HSA initiative is all about.
Absolutely.
And I want to tell you, it is also a discrimination against women folk. Why don't they take needle and syringe and stitch all the opening parts of men? Why must it always be us at all times? So let me say it here that it is ignorant that is making those that are saying we should not stop the cult, because they don't have the knowledge, they don't know the negative effects. So it has to be stopped, not just any other time, but now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See, it's very important that you mentioned all those consequences of female genital mutilation. This is something that is inflicted on the woman, even without her consent. A lot of people don't get to consent to this, but it just happens to them. It's something that is being done on them for all sorts of different reasons. And because it's being done on them, because there's no consent attached to it, they're on the receiving end. Let me put it that way. They're on the receiving end of a lot of pain that they did not ask for. And it's not just the pain, even all the psychological consequences, everything that comes along with it. And just as you mentioned, pain during delivery, not being able to control your bladder when it comes to urine, when it comes to feces. And at the end of the day, you're developing diseases you did not ask for just because this was done to you. So I understand why a lot of people say this is wrong. And it really is wrong. Yeah. But my question now is, do people have this level of awareness when it comes to the conviction that female genital mutilation is wrong? Do you think people have that high level of awareness in today's society?
Awareness is a relative term. But now you say high level of awareness, they don't really have it because they are under hypnotism.
You know, that's a very big word. Why do you say so?
Oh, some people, they are so gullible. If you tell you must do certain things because of tradition, because they want to be a conformist and not a deviant, they will not even bother to look at the other side of the thing. So that is just the issue. People are hearing a lot of things about it. There are a lot of advocacy. Not only the UN initiatives and every other bodies are talking about it, but because they have been blindfolded because of this tradition. That is why they don't want to say, they don't want to believe that there are some negative effect of the practice. But I want to tell you that this time around, we need to work on the traditional practitioners.
Okay. The traditional circumcisers themselves.
Yes, we need to work on them because they are the one perpetrating the act. And I want to tell you, it has been legalized. It is a crime now against humanity. If you try to circumcise, even the person that even bring the baby is liable to punishment as well. But not until we take the advocacy to the circumcised. That is the traditional circumcisers themselves. The act will not stop. If you tell them, you train them the implication that they are prone to be, they may be arrested at any time if they still continue in the act, then you will see that there will be a great reduction in the act.
I appreciate you saying that again, because these traditional circumcisers are one very big reason why it looks like there's a real struggle against the elimination of female genital mutilation. So it's one thing for people to sit down and think, oh, this is what we know. This is what we know. Everybody I know in the entire lineage of my family has done this thing. Why is it that people are saying this, people are saying that? And then people older, particularly the older generation, our mothers, grandmothers, will still be of the opinion that, oh, this is what they know as well. So let us just take you to these traditional circumcisers. So as you rightly said, this knowledge, this awareness needs to get to them so that they by themselves be able to understand that this thing that we are doing for these children is actually not right.
And they will be aware of what they are up to. If they engage in it, they are
From the criminal point of view.
That is it.
That's actually another very important point. Thank you very much, because a lot of advocacy is being done against female genital mutilation, but to a large extent, it's being done probably in respect to the consequences, the pains, the fact that there's no medical benefit, and all the things that the girl child stands to suffer from if female genital mutilation is done to her. But I think more people need to understand that there's a legal perspective to this.
Mostly it is being performed on infants.
Yes.
And girls within the age of 15, and women as well. When you perpetrate such evil on a minor, it is a violation of the Child Rights Act. Under the law, the children have their own right as well.
That's true.
And they're supposed to be protected by their parents and by the law. But the parents are ignorant. They don't have a say because they are still minor. And that is where we are saying that whosoever it is degrading, demoralizing, and it is a torture on the child. So that is it.
Thank you again. It's 15 minutes past 2 on Women Radio 91.7, and this is still Let's Talk FGM today. Let's Talk FGM is the program where we discuss everything pertaining to female genital mutilation. Today on FGM, on Let's Talk FGM, we're talking about zero tolerance for FGM, zero tolerance for female genital mutilation, report and speak out. Report and speak out. Let's Talk FGM is an initiative of Haiti Health Initiative in partnership with Women Radio 91.7 and funded by the United Nations Trust Fund to End Violence Against Women. My guest today is Alaga Monsurat, and she's basically giving us everything that we need to know concerning how much we need to speak out against the practice, the evil practice, as we called it, the evil practice of female genital mutilation. You can call in to ask questions, to contribute, and express yourself on the program. You can call in to 07000 917 917, 07000 917 917. You can also send in your text or WhatsApp messages. We'll read it on 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. Now, Alaga Monsurat, let's get to the part where we talk about speaking out. We've had guests here before talk about how important it is to speak out. But in cases where you, as one part of the couple, because couple now is husband and wife.
Yeah.
So let's say you are the husband, for instance, and it's the wife that understands female genital mutilation as something that is normal. Because let's not say that because the wife is a woman, she will not be in support of it. Some women still don't know that is wrong. And even if they know, they still think that, because this is something that we've known for a long time, let's still continue it. It may be wrong, but it may be wrong to people that are educated, so to speak. So let's say the wife is saying, let's take our child to this place for circumcision. And the husband is aware that this thing is wrong. Or the husband is the one saying, let us take our child for circumcision. But the wife is aware that is wrong. How do you speak out against your own blood, your own family, your own husband, your own wife? Particularly when the law states that even the person taking the baby, as you've said, is a violation of the law. So will you go and report your own husband or your own wife or your mother-in-law or your own mother? Abi? How is that going to be? How do you speak out against your own family?
We are talking about the issue of death, because this female genital mutilation can lead to death. You know, when there is excessive bleeding, one can bleed to death. So when life is involved, you can go to any extent. You know, the advocacy has been taken to various levels. At the local government level, we have a council that is called Community Development Council, CDC. This is the umbrella body for all community development associations at what level. And because those people have been trained, they are part of the stakeholders, those that have been trained. It is easy for you as a wife to just go to your CDA, that is at the ward level, and report, well, excuse me, this is what my husband is trying to do, and I've been trying to talk with him on it. Can you please prevail and speak with him? That is an approach. Another approach is that there are some health centers and hospitals that you can normally take your baby to. You know, during antenatal, you must have gotten enough talk on the negative effect. You can as well visit the place and report your husband. So there's nothing bad in that, because you are trying to protect your child. So that is it.
I appreciate you saying that, because when I read out the topic, zero tolerance on female genital mutilation, report and speak out. Now, somebody listening to me might think, oh, this is only talking about reporting to the police or reporting to... Exactly. So that might be the perception. So I want you to clarify that. So when we say speak out, what exactly does it entail?
What we are saying is that you should speak to the appropriate authorities that are capable of stopping the action of your spouse, be your husband that is interested or the wife. You don't need to go to the place. It is after they might have engaged in dialogue with him, the last stage will now be reporting to the police.
Okay.
So that is it. It is a gradual process. And you start from simple to complex. I believe you know one thing about men, they don't like this much noise of we women. They see us as being troublesome. By the time you tell him that I'm going to report you to the whole world, that you want to keep my baby, he will just stop. Like I have an experience when I was young, my mother-in-law said, I must be giving my baby water. I said, no, I'm going to breastfeed the baby for 6 months, uninterrupted breastfeeding.
Yes.
And she was just persuading me to do it. I said, Mama, I'm going to report you to the whole world. Do you want to keep my baby? She just stopped. And since then, she never mentioned it again. So that approach is there.
Imagine how that conversation would have gone.
Very tough then.
Okay, so if I'm getting it correctly now, you're saying you can go from simple to complex. And the simple is to report to your CDA first. So as a wife, as a mother, as a husband, if you think that your spouse is doing this, it's important to report to that body first and let them intervene. So what step that they take will now determine, and the reaction of your spouse will now determine what
the future action. And I want to tell you, the advocacy has been taken to churches and mosques. So it is easy for you to call your pastor and tell your pastor that this is what my spouse is saying. You can talk to your imam. This is what my spouse is saying. So it is a gradual process.
And I want to reiterate that you mentioned you can also talk to your hospital as well, because they also have the information about the negative effects of female genital mutilation. Okay, thank you very much, Alaga Monsurat. So how do we now empower people? I'm looking for how to phrase this correctly. So particularly in rural situations or rural areas, sometimes the dynamic between husband and wife or between some members of the family is a little bit tricky, in that the husband might be the kind of person that says, is there anything I say that has to go? And then you as the wife, you're just trying to create peace. You don't want wahala. You don't want struggle. You don't want anything that will cause any unnecessary conflict. So particularly when the man is the only breadwinner in the family. The wife is not working, or if she's working, she's maybe doing a little bit of trading here and there. That is just supporting. Maybe the husband is is the only breadwinner in the family. So because the husband has a lot of financial control, the wife a lot of times has to do whatever it is that he says in order to be able to provide, so that in order to be able to receive from him, to be able to provide for her family. So in tricky situations like that, and your husband now says, oh, this is what I know that we should do for our child, and then you, as the person that doesn't have as much control in your marriage or in your family setting, is now the one who knows better. How do you empower somebody like that to speak up against somebody that has seemingly more control, so to speak, in that kind of setting?
Thank you very much. You know, there are a lot of gender harmful traditional practices against women. And one of it is that a woman must not raise her voice at her husband. But with the help of the post-Beijing conference, we've been taught that we can always make our intention known in a subtle manner. You tell your husband one-on-one. For the fact that you don't have economic power doesn't change you or doesn't change your position or status as his wife. And the issue at stake concerns both you and your husband. So you should be able to convince him. The problem we always have is that we don't tend to study the nature of our husband.
Okay.
You know, even in madness, there is system. So your man cannot be tough throughout life. So you should always know the time to speak with him on issues like that. And you know, there are some people of significant order. I told you the advocacy has been taken to churches, mosques. You can as well engage them and tell them what you are passing through. This time around, I'm not bragging. We refuse to be subjected to emotional torture. So the fact that you cannot even talk with your husband is no longer the issue, because women have been trained and will be equipped with some psychological skills on how to engage in dialogue with her husband. So that is one. Then you talk about the issue of empowerment.
Yes.
It is very, very important that a woman have economic power, because economic play vital role in the survival of a family. So we must just get ourselves doing something so that we will be able to contribute to the development of the family. So that is it. And you know, there are some NGOs that have this as their focus. That is the women empowerment. Even government is even doing a fantastic job on this.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alaga Mansurat. Then coming back to the subject of speaking up, to the subject of reporting, I want to know how some cases that have been reported have been attended to. How have they been handled? If there's any particular case that comes to mind, please, you can share with us so that we can understand that, okay, in reality, it's one thing to say, oh, speak up, report, talk to somebody, do this, do that. But in reality, there are actually cases that have been reported and they have been handled in the right way. So you gave very good advice when you said, speak to the right authorities. So if there's any case that comes to mind specifically that you can relay for us that has to do with somebody who spoke up to the right authorities and it was addressed?
I want to tell you that in all states of the Federation in Nigeria, we have the Ministry of Women Affairs, and you can as well report at those cases. In the past, I used to be a director of education and a community development officer. We've seen instances, and I want to tell you that even at the rural level, people are now speaking up on the issue. I know of an instance that the husband did not even insist on circumcision alone, but putting tribal marks on the girl child, believing that the girl is controversial. You know, there are some issues like that, but I
yes.
don't want to go to that. And when such issues are at stake, the man is ready to go to any extent. But good enough, the woman came to our department and she reported. The man was invited and we were able to let him know some facts concerning the female genital mutilation. That, are you saying you love this baby? He said yes. If you love the baby, the best way to protect the life of this baby is not to allow her to undergo the circumcision. And lo and behold, the man appeared as if he was not comprehending what we were saying, but at the end of the day, he succumbed. I still see the woman around. I know her name, I know the name of the baby, and they are living fine now. The issue is that they need training. We need training.
Yes.
We need to be enlightened. You know, when a child is holding a knife, because the child is not aware of the danger inherent in holding the knife. If you ask him or her to drop the knife or give it to you, it will not happen. But in the situation whereby you start seeing maybe thinking, oh baby, can you give me the knife? Before you know it, willingly he will hand over the knife to you. In the same way, we are not saying we want to use force. Because whatever you cannot take in love, you cannot take it by force. So what we are saying is that we want solemn approach. And we want the women to always voice out. We suffer we suffer a lot under silence. And we want to end the violence against women. And one of the violence that we want to even stop is that your force must always be high. You should not be the sit down the look mother. Otherwise, you are not protecting your children. It is better not to bring a child into this planet Earth than for you not to protect or nurture the baby. So it is part of your duty of nurturing the baby when you prevent such baby from circumcision. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes. Yes, you have. You have, and I appreciate the response. This particular case that you mentioned, there are so many cases out there that are so similar to this case. A lot of people who their husbands don't know enough, or their husbands know, but they still feel like, anyhow you look at it, it's still what we understand. Yes, I'm hearing that it's right, that it's wrong, but there are also situations, this is also a situation where I feel like it may be wrong to society, but because this is our culture, this is something that we should do. So thank you very much for that particular instance that you've given. Then I also want to ask about cases where the culture is in support of female genital mutilation, and the people who are emphasizing it are the either parents, that's mother-in-law and the mothers of the husband and wife, or the community leaders. So do parents need more awareness on female genital mutilation, and do community leaders also need this much awareness as well, just so that people in their community will know better?
You know, education and training is a continuous process. You keep learning. Even as much awareness we have gotten, you will still discover that maybe tomorrow our knowledge is obsolete. So community leaders, they need training as well. Parents also need to upgrade their knowledge And that is the essence of the Healthy Health Initiative. They are doing a fantastic work over this. I could remember vividly there was a time they held a conference in Ibadan, and people from all walks of life were invited for the program. So being a community leader doesn't make you to know everything. No one is an encyclopedia of knowledge. You start learning each day long. Education is totality of human experience from cradle to grave. And I want to tell you that even in death, people still believe you are learning. And that's why you see some people at graveside, they will be telling you, don't eat this, or don't eat millipede, don't eat this. So it doesn't have to do with age or status. You keep training them. So that is it.
Thank you very much, Alaga Monsurat. This is still Let's Talk FGM on Women Radio 91.7.
WFM 91.7.
Mama Dora, big Dora, come on. Papa Dada don't come circumcise us.
You want circumcise your pikin? This generation where everybody don't know say circumcision no good at all. Now you want destroy your pikin life. Papa Dora, you know say person wey pay somebody to do circumcision, and person wey do the circumcision, now all of them go prison wey fit reach like 4 years, and dem fit still even pay 200,000. If you give person ordinary advice say make dem do circumcision, you go fit go prison for like 2 years and still pay like 100,000 fine money. In short, tell my family that call this law enforcement agency to go arrest you. Wetin dey do no good?
You no circumcise Dora again, eh? Papa Dada carry your yama knife comot my house. All me sef go report you.
Circumcision no good at all o, as e dey cause plenty health palava for girls body. My people, if you hear or see person wey wan circumcise any girl, sharply go to law enforcement person near you, or make you call 0812 467 0069. Female circumcision no good. Make we join hands stop am.
Na this health initiative through im Stop Court project wey dey funded by United Nations Trust Fund to End Violence Against Women bring una this message.
This is still Let's Talk FGM on Women Radio 91.7, and this is 25 minutes to 3. We're still discussing zero tolerance for female genital mutilation. Report and speak out. Zero tolerance for female genital mutilation. Report and speak out. Today, that's our focus, and you can call in to express yourself. Send in a text or WhatsApp message as well. To call, dial the number 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. You can also send in your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175-6537. My guest today is Alaga Monsurat, Director, Lagelu Local Government, and Ajiaya of Ibadan Land, or your state. Did I get that correctly this time?
No.
Oh, apologies once again.
No problem.
Thank you. We're still talking about zero tolerance for female genital mutilation. Report and speak out. Report and speak out. So if you want to speak out on female genital mutilation, this is a good place to do it. But you can also report cases of female genital mutilation by calling 0812 467 0069. 0812 467 0069. Now, over to you, Alaga Monsurat. It's interesting that a lot of people always talk about ending female genital mutilation. And it's also one of the very important pillars of the Sustainable Development Goals as well. So it's a goal that everyone basically should be aspiring to achieve. But in respect to ending female genital mutilation, it's important that speaking out is one of the biggest elements of ending it. How can we leverage collaborations and partnerships with organizations to end female genital mutilation? Leverage partnerships with international organizations, local organizations, state and federal government.
This is part of what we've been doing. And I want to tell you that we need to partner with local organizations as well. Do you know the reason? People will tend to access such advocacy because they're very, very close to them. I appreciate the AC Health Initiative, but they cannot reach all localities. It is virtually impossible. So what we are saying is that let's collaborate with the local partners. Let's empower the local partners as well. You know, we have some CBOs. Those are the community-based organizations. You can go to them. Let them do it. Give them training. There's what we call train the trainers workshop. And you will not be at watch as observers. So you can only help to fine-tune their arrangements. Because it is easy for me to listen to you. Because I understand your language, the language you speak. Because you can even come down to my level. You know, some people, the rural people don't benefit from most of the workshops. Do you know the reason? Because people don't come down to their level. You know, it is easy for you to voice out when you are with your people of the same age grade, the same identity, the same cultural belief, and a host of others. So I'm emphasizing that we should take this partnership issue to the lowest level, the grassroots level. And by that, we have better results.
That sounds like something that people should definitely do. And I'm not talking of just organizations, even people who are interested in joining the fight against female genital mutilation. They are not directly any part of any organization, but they are aware about this and they want to help stop it. So they can collaborate with all these organizations to bring it down to their own communities and talk to regular people who maybe do not know or need that repetition so they can hear it multiple times and they can understand that female genital mutilation really is wrong. Still talking about leveraging partnership and support. How do people who are similarly knowledgeable, for instance, because we've been talking a lot about the rural setting, the rural people in the rural environment, but a lot of times, even people in the urban environment, for some reason, even though they're aware and knowledgeable about negative effects, some of them still are held under that cultural hold. So how can people in urban settings, particularly those who now know about female genital mutilation, how can they speak out to enable other people who know but are still under the hold of culture to know better?
You know, people will not obey laws without the sanction being attached to it. We should be stressing the sanctions, like through jingles. You can even sponsor some dramas as well, so that they will become informed participants. You cannot just tell me that illiterates cannot be ignorant of certain things. They may know it is wrong. They may not know the legal aspect of the whole thing. So let's spread it that it is a crime against humanity and perpetrators are liable to be punished. That is just the fact.
Straight to the point, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's Talk FGM is an initiative of Haiti Health Initiative in partnership with Women Radio 91.7 and funded by the United Nations Trust Fund to end violence against women. We're still talking about zero tolerance for FGM, report and speak out. Now, I want to ask about, I talked about the police earlier. I want to ask about the police and other security operatives. Would you say that they have the right knowledge when it comes to handling cases of female genital mutilation if it's reported to them?
I want to tell you that majority of them also attend these advocacy programs. The HAC Health Initiatives is all encompassing. I told you recently they organized a conference with people from all walks of life. So they've been properly briefed. They've been equipped. Awareness has gotten to them on the negative effects of female genital mutilation. And you want to tell me that we don't have women among the police? they must have suffered something of such nature in the past. And if not directly, maybe their friends. And we are talking about the issue of infertility now in the 21st century. I want to tell you, majority of the victims must have passed or undergone this female genital mutilation. You get infected through it. You don't know the internal damage that might have occurred. Things like that. So I want to tell you that we all need to take concerted effort in putting an end to it. It doesn't even end with the women folk alone. It has to be a general thing. We want to protect lives. We want to save lives. So the moral reason why all hands must be on deck. So let those that have ears listen to the voice of wisdom. You are going to be sanctioned if you perpetrate the act. And for those that will be handling issues like this at maybe some quarters, they must have gotten the required training as well, including the police.
All right. Thank you very much. You can still call in to the program 07000 917 917 07000 917-917. That's the number to call in. So if you have any questions for my guest, Alaga Monsirat, or you have any observations, maybe around you that you've heard of, or anything that you would like to share as pertaining to female genital mutilation, reporting and speaking out, then please feel free to do that. Call in to 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. You can also send in your text messages or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. All right, so this is a message that has come in, and this one is coming in. Okay, you didn't put your name or location. Anyway, I'm going to read out this message. This one says, "Good afternoon. I would like to know if non-circumcision of females truly makes them promiscuous later in life." I will let you answer this one.
This is just a religious cover-up. When you are circumcised, you are prone to a lot of diseases, and you will no longer enjoy film making. So if it doesn't have meaning to you, that is when you even do it at will, like pure water. So what I'm saying in essence is that non-circumcision does not promote promiscuity. You will enjoy your marriage, you will enjoy sexual intercourse, and you'll be safe. You will not contact any diseases. There won't be infection. There won't be excessive bleeding. There will not be IUD, intrauterine death. When you even struggle to deliver, prolonged labor, it will lead to death of the baby. And eventually, if you try other, you might even die as a mother. So I want to tell you that it has nothing to do. It is just obnoxious culture that we need to put an end to. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much for the answer. And I like how you answered that, because truly this is one thing that we keep referring to, because it seems like this is the biggest reason why people do this, because they have been internalized, they've been conditioned to believe that if you don't circumcise your daughter, she will be sleeping around. She will be, yes. That's the conditioning that a lot of people have. And this is why most people do it, apart from all the other reasons across different cultures. But it seems like this is the one biggest thing that people think. And I'm wondering, who came up with this? Who sat down and thought, if we tell people this thing, they will follow it?
It is cruelty against women. Why can't they stitch the opening of men so that they won't be promiscuous? The men just want to keep us perpetually in their armpits. So you must not enjoy sex. That is the situation. You must not enjoy sex. All you need to have fun for is for procreation, for childbearing, and nothing else. And it is unfair. God has given it to us so that we will enjoy. We suffer a lot of pain during delivery,
That's true.
during pregnancy, during menstrual period, and a lot of things. God has said, out of the whole lot of pains, I have decided to bless you with this, so that you can enjoy intercourse. And they are still depriving us of it. So it is time they must put end to this cruelty against women folk.
Thank you. As we round off now, let me ask you, how have you been using your own influence to encourage people to speak out and report cases of female genital mutilation?
I told you I used to be a community development officer, and
Yes.
I'm still one, because, and I'm also a social worker as well. All we do is that you encourage people to even speak out. A lot of women are suffering from these enuresis and even hopelessness, and they cannot come and tell you that, do you believe I urinate at will? But when you come down to their level, you will not say, because I am educated, I don't want to relate with the downtrodden or the people that are less privileged. By the time you mingle with them, they will see you as somebody they can always confide in. And that is the more reason that we should create some kind of artificial status for ourselves in our environment. The media are always there, and your little effort can make a change. So in my own way, I work mostly with rural women. I work at the local government setting, and we are the one that is very, very close to the community people. We see people when they come for meetings, you engage in dialogue with them. Your officers can even make referral, telling you that they've identified people with certain, and the government will always intervene. There are government intervention, most especially in treating the problem emanating from female genital mutilation. On yearly basis, appreciable fund is being spent on carrying out operation to rectify the effects of this female genital mutilation. So in our own little way, we are doing advocacy as well, and we relate with them. We encourage. I even belong to a group, Down to Heart, Speak Out. We are an initiative of a friend of mine. She's very close to me. We encourage people, and when we identify somebody with this problem, we link them up with those that can assist them.
Thank you very much, Alagamasura.
You're welcome.
So finally, do you have hope for zero tolerance for female genital mutilation in Nigeria?
I have hope. And one of the hope is to commend the initiative of this, that is the SA Out initiative. They have some lines which you can call for help and to even report cases relating to this. I don't know if it is not going to be advert, if I have to be calling out the lines.
I'll do that.
You do that for me.
Yes.
Thank you, you're a darling.
So I'm happy.
Is in the advocacy, and we will get there one day.
That's true.
And you have to train a girl child to even say no to it as well. So that when they get to school, they can discuss it amidst their peers. The Bible said it is wrong for a girl child to be circumcised. And before you know it, you are spreading the gospel.
That's true. Thank you very much, Alagamasura. Thank you so much for joining us today on Let's Talk FGM.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed this conversation. And this is how we call it a wrap. This is how we call it a day on female genital mutilation, on conversation on female genital mutilation. It's Let's Talk FGM, and Let's Talk FGM is an initiative of Haiti Health Initiative in partnership with Women Radio 91.7 and funded by the United Nations Trust Fund to End Violence Against Women. Today, we just rounded conversation off on zero tolerance for female genital mutilation. Report and speak out. So basically, it is very important that when you identify cases around you, you should speak out to the appropriate authorities so that they can handle it with the delicateness and sensitivity that is required for cases of female genital mutilation. And let's join hands together to stop female genital mutilation today. You can report cases of FGM to this number 0812 467 0069. I'll read it again 0812 467 0069. Call that number if you identify any cases of female genital mutilation around you. You can also get more information on stopcut.hacy.org. Stopcut.hacy.org. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to the producer, Adenike Kodri, and of course to the engineers on duty. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama. Good afternoon.
Àṣàkẹ́ yé sunkún lè rán pé ṣe bí ìyá àgbà onígi ló fẹ́ dábẹ́ fún wọn.
Mi ò fẹ́ dábẹ́ fọ́mọ mi. Aládùúgbò ẹgbà wọ́n wọ́n fẹ́ dábẹ́ fọ́mọ ẹgbà wọ́n àwọn ọmọ fẹ́yìn ló fẹ́ dábẹ́ fáṣàkẹ́ ìyá àgbà mi gígan ni wọ́n sì pè pé kó wá dábẹ́ fún.
Ṣé bí ìjọba ti ní ohun tó léwu ni? Èwo ti ní láti máa dábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin.
Ṣé bí nǹkan tí wọ́n fi yé bàbá bọ́lá lọ sí ẹ̀wọ̀n ọdún lẹ́yìn nígbà ọ̀nà? Ẹ̀wọ̀n ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ jáwọ́ nínú gbogbo tí wọ́n fẹ́ tẹ̀sán àwọn lẹ́yìn. Ìtọ́lọ́pàá sí.
Àti ẹ ti fẹ́ kọ́ ọmọ yín kú. Àwọn ọmọ pé ohun tó léwu ni. Àwọn olùwé ọ̀làjú ló fẹ́ bá àṣà àti ìṣe wa jẹ́. Ọyá ẹja lọ lé àdábẹ́ mọ́ o. Ìyá àgbà onígi ń kọ́.
Iṣẹ́ òtítì náà tẹ̀ mọ́ wọn létí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé nígbà bẹ́ fọmọbìnrin ló tí ò dáa ni bí wọ́n lè pa ti nílẹ̀ kan á gbọ́dọ̀ fẹjọ́ lọ sùn ni. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa dídábẹ́ fọmọbìnrin ò dára rárá ó sì kún fún un. Bí ẹ bá mọ ẹnikẹ́ni tó ń gbèrò láti dábẹ́ fọmọbìnrin, ẹ lọ sọ fáwọn agbófinró tó bá súnmọ́ yín tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè nọ́mbà 08124670069. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sowọ́pọ̀ láti dẹ́kun ìdábẹ́ ọmọbìnrin.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti iléeṣẹ́ ACL Initiative pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn àjọ àgbáyé United